When I was young, I grew up in like a Baptist house. For those that don't know, Baptist is a part of a Christian religion that really, digs into like more of the black culture of the Christian religion. In the church, they always used to say, "Money is the root of all evil," but my grandfather never said it. So as I grew up, I used to ask him, "Hey, how come you never agree when they say money is the root of all evil?" And he said something that I remember to this day. He said, "Money is not the root of all evil. Money is an accelerant of the person who's using it. It brings out who they truly are, or it hides who they truly are." What's going on, everybody? It's your boy FRE, $H Fresh at the Flyboy Way. That's THEFLYBOYWAY. Don't ask why, just check out the channel. And I know I keep saying it's been a long time, but I told people from last year that I'm not going to be doing too many videos on YouTube this year. I'm really working on my film festival. I got a big film festival coming up. Actually, the biggest Black American Black film festival called ABFF. I got that coming up. Hopefully, I'll get picked for either the podcast or my web series. But I'm getting ready for that, and I'm also going to Cuba. So there's a lot of stuff going on aside from the film festival. And I felt as though this Money Talk Mondays, I couldn't let go without talking about: are you living in your purpose, or are you just occupying time? I feel as though myself, a lot of people aren't happy. They aren't truly happy because either they've been told how they should live and they have maybe accomplished that. For example, they told you you should be a millionaire. They told you you should get married and have a white picket fence with kids. They told you you should just travel the world and not worry about anything else. But as my grandfather said, when the money goes, you feel like you find out who someone truly is or who people truly are. And you even find out who you are to yourself. It's funny because I never really thought that, I really never thought about, and I'm talking about the phone, I really never thought about what it would be like to actually have money. Again, I come from poverty. I come from a great family, but I come from poverty. I come from New Jersey during the crack epidemic. I'm just turning my phone off because this is a pretty deep conversation. But I never thought what it would be like to have money. But I knew one thing: money wouldn't change who I wanted to be. I was one of the lucky people who was able to find their purpose. Now, it's not my point to try to save all Black people or try to save all people who have came out of poverty, because not all people that are in poverty or are struggling are Black. But I can relate, and people can relate me more because I'm Black. But my purpose was to show you that there's another way, that you can make it to the top without having to hurt someone else, without having to hurt your own people or other people. And I'm not knocking anybody that does anything. That's cool. But that was my purpose. I feel like there's a lot of people that's just living in and occupying time. They haven't really found their purpose. And what happens is that when you don't look or go to find your purpose, and I'll shout you guys out in the room real quick. When you don't look or go to find your purpose, you fill that gap with things that are just temporary moments of happiness. I'm going to travel the world. Temporary moments of happiness. I'm going to be a millionaire. Temporary moments of happiness. I'm going to have a kid and a family. Temporary moments of happiness. Because people never truly understand that you need to find your purpose. Because once you find your purpose, you never get aggravated when people say something that may be offensive or trolling, or something that may be directly said to try to make you upset, because you know your purpose. But what happens is that a lot of people, they react to things. A lot of people, they lash out on people because they may have seen someone who may have found their purpose and they haven't. And it's just the way it is. Now, let me shout you guys out of the room before we get back into this conversation. I think this is a talk that we need to have because a lot of people are under the influence that reaching a status is going to make you happy. It's going to be your purpose, and I wouldn't bank on that. T Meeting, what's going on, man? Mr. Stephen X, what up? He said Ephesians 10:19, money answers all things. Escalation and money answers. Okay. What's going on, Kings of Dream? Salute. Make sure you check out my brother Kings of Dream channel. He be having some great lives. Mr. Miyagi, what it do, bro? And V Swell Traveler in the building. Make sure y'all check out V Swell channel too. He be having some dope shorts he be dropping also. Pause. All right, so occupying time. Occupying time is another form of distraction. It's another form of getting your mind off of finding your purpose. And some people, I feel as though all right, so now I'm going to speak as a Black person. I feel as though we as Black people, a lot of us get caught up in the hype of having notoriety, having a big channel with 1 million people on a channel, or we get caught up with having a lot of money with millions of dollars in the bank account. And we think that's going to really truly make us sad or quench our thirst for purpose. And it doesn't. But then they got people building up and like, oh, I would love to be where you're at. I would love to be where you're at. And they're just seeing on the outside, they don't see on the inside. And I feel as though if you continue to do that, it's going to mess you up big time. It's really going to mess you up big time. Shout out to the bro Andre from Love Crossing Borders. Y'all make sure y'all check out the channel too. Rio the Aviator, it's been a while. Yes, it's been a while. I remember the last time I did a live, was talking about Cuba. We went for 2 hours. I'm really trying to keep this under 30 minutes or under an hour. But like I said, once I get to the 20-minute mark, you guys got any questions on anything, I'll answer your questions. I just really want to have this on my channel because I don't want. All right, so I'm gonna give you guys some insight to my life now. Now, currently, my son is living with me. I have to take him to school every morning, way like 45 minutes away. But I was sitting upstairs and I was doing his homework with him, and I'm realizing in the math they're doing stuff so different and so crazy, so different where I don't even understand it myself. But I know it's a slower way, and I know if my son doesn't pick it up, then he's gonna fall behind. So I told him the way that I taught him, the way that I know. And the reason this is because everything doesn't work for everybody. You might see something, and I'm linking this back to the conversation. You might see something that someone else is doing, and it's working for them, or it appears that it's working for them, and you might go strive for that. But if you're striving for it because you're trying to reach a money altitude versus a fulfillment altitude of okay, this is what I want to do, it's going to cause you a lot of trouble along the way. And you know, it's a lot of different people. Like, let's say people on YouTube, people in the industry. There's a lot of different people who are now having like either very difficult problems with people backlashing, or problems with money and things like that, because they thought something was their purpose, but it was just a way to get money. And I know it's not going to really, a lot of people are not going to get this, because I do feel as though until you get money out of your sight, it is very hard to see the importance of purpose. It is very hard to see the importance of purpose until you get money out of your sight. And I just hope that me speaking with you guys about this it may ring a bell in somebody's ear. Like the next time they go to work, they're like, damn, do I really want to be here 25, 35 years? Or the next time they go and they go on a live, or they go on a trip, they're like, dang, do I really want to be recording and doing trips my whole life trying to make money? I think the best way to think about it is this. It's mostly because of the education system. Because we were taught, we ever had, when you were younger, anybody ever say, what do you want to be when you grow up? How would you know? How would you know in the short amount of time as being a kid what you truly want to be when you grow up if you haven't lived enough to even come to a conclusion of what it's like to be that? You see, I don't ask my son, and I don't ask my daughter, what do you guys want to be when you grow up? I say, what do you want to do right now? What do you like doing right now? Can you see yourself what you're doing right now in the future? Because when you put this on a child or a kid to say, what do you want to be when you grow up? You're putting out there that they have to pick something that they know nothing about and say, this is my purpose. And that can be detrimental. That can be so detrimental. Because then they grow up, they be that doctor, they go to school for 4 years. They take all these loans and stuff to go to school. They do another 3 years to be a doctor. They do a nurse. They do another 2 years to be a doctor. Now they're a doctor. They're making a lot of money, but they don't enjoy what they're doing because they've seen it on TV. And they say, oh, I want to be like that. And my teacher said, if this is what I want to be, this is how I got to do it. Yo, I feel as though, my opinion, we're educating people wrong. I say we because even though I educate my kids, my children differently, I'm part of society. I'm part of the Black society who educates their children wrong. And if you don't believe me, just look at what's going on today. Just look at what's going on today. I'm part of the United States society who educates their children wrong. Look what's going on today. And you know I don't like bringing up bad news, but I just seen some story about a 16-year-old boy who knocked on the wrong door and got shot. Why? And everybody said, oh, this is because he was in the wrong, this and this. And I'm like, yo, we're educating our children wrong. And I say we as a generalization, because if we educate our children to find their purpose, hey son, don't worry about what you want to be. Just figure out what you like now and do it until you don't like it anymore. And then when you find out when you don't like it anymore, find something else that you can like. Find another purpose. Because trying a bunch of stuff out is the way you find your purpose. Again, this. I can relate this to so many things. Let me relate it to YouTube real quick. So I start YouTube, right? Not me, but I'm just saying. Let's say I started YouTube right now, and I'm like, all right, looking on YouTube, I want to make money. Okay, how can I make money on YouTube? What field can I go into? Okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to walk around different places, and I'm going to film women. I'm going to walk around and film women. So I start this path. I'm getting popularity all over the place. I got 10,000 subscribers. I got 50,000 subscribers. I got 100,000 subscribers, 200, 300, 400. I hit 1 million. But I'm not happy. Now, I don't really want to do this anymore. Now I can't switch because I'm stuck. No, it's not true. But if I don't want to switch because I know it will take my notoriety, it would take the money I make down, then I'm stuck in this. I want to walk around and film women. And it's not a good or bad thing. I'm just telling you what is reality. I'm stuck in this. But I'm making $1 million. But it's not my purpose. So I cancel the channel. And I find the channel and I redo another channel, and I make a channel where I'm teaching people how to bowl. I'm teaching people how to bowl. And it's making me happy. I'm showing my purpose. It's filling me in the heart. But I only got 500 subscribers. It's more important to have a channel like that than to have a channel where you're making all this money and all these views, but your purpose is not fulfilled. And you searching, and you searching, and you searching. And I'm like I said, I just wanted to relate this to YouTube because we're on YouTube, and I know there's a lot of content creators in the room and people that's coming in. I wanted you guys to understand what I mean by, are you living in your purpose, or are you just occupying time? When you occupy time, sometimes you can lash out on people because it's not going your way. You can lash out on people because you're not fulfilled. I want to be a basketball player. I want to be in the NBA. I get in the NBA. I've got all this notoriety. Now I want to pick up guns. I want to be a thug. Because I made it to the NBA. I got all this notoriety, but it's not what I really wanted in my purpose. Because they told me, if you want to be a basketball player, you got to do this. You got to do this. You got to do this. Again, we're educating our children wrong. And I think more of us, and I hope more of us start to really allow our children. Like I had the pleasure of not having a father in my life. Watch how I break this down. I had the pleasure of not having a father in my life. What? That's what most people would say. Let me tell you why it's a pleasure to not have a father in your life. I had my grandfather, but remember, he was an age gap. He was doing a lot of stuff. I saw him every now and then. And especially when I lived with him, I saw him every now and then when he was moving around. But here's the pleasure to not having a father in your life. I was able to grow up and be the man I truly wanted to be. I wasn't pressured to become this identical, successful or non-successful person that my father was. I wasn't raised to have to listen to his ideologies, his way of living. So I was able to develop my own. I was able to have a free mind and think of ways that maybe no one else thinks of. Whether I'm talking about having children around the world that I could support, or whether I'm talking about not just being a person who travels to a bunch of places, but rather a person who builds and connects bridges in the different places he goes. See, I had the privilege of not having a father in my life. Because if I had a father in my life, well, then there's no way I could be the rebellious, what they quote, person who I am. And that may have been the reason why there's no way I wouldn't have hit the financial status I did. Or there'd be no way that a kid from North New Jersey could have a crib on the water in the residential section in Miami Beach next to millionaires, multimillionaires, and down the street from billionaires in Bentley Bay. I had the pleasure of not having a father in my life. My son doesn't have that pleasure because I'm in his life. But I'm aware of not pushing my thoughts, opinions, beliefs, religion, whatever on him the way that fathers have done it decade over decade for their kids. And I just want to share that with you guys, because when you do that, the kid or the child has a harder time finding their purpose. And they end up just occupying their time with whatever, whether it's occupying their time with getting money, occupying their time with getting women, occupying their time with traveling the world, occupying their time with trying to get in the NBA, NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, because their father told them their purpose. I'm gonna get to y'all comment, y'all. We had over the 20-minute mark. You guys got any questions? I just wanted to get that off because I feel as though when I make my channel, here's the thing. My channel is not a travel channel. It's never been a travel channel. Traveling is what I do the most on my page. I do it the most because it helps me learn when I go to different cultures and learn when I integrate from different cultures. When I integrate with different cultures and learn. The same way hip hop grew about going around and everybody added their 2 cents in, not colonizing, but integration. That's the same way I learned by going different places. That's why I travel so much. Whether it's in the States, example, before I started traveling internationally, I traveled in the States so I could get a view of what the United States was. Then I started traveling locally, Caribbean. Caribbean and stuff like that. And I spread it out a little more, Dubai, and I spread it out a little more, France. So it's just for me to get a conceptual ideology of the world from my own perspective. So I can increase my purpose, which is to, again, my purpose is to show people that you can make it from the bottom to the top without hurting your own people or without hurting other people. So let me get to y'all comments real quick, man. I know I was talking for a minute. I just wanted to say that real quick. Hold up. We over 20 minutes. You got any questions or anything? Ask me. If I can answer it, I'll answer it. Or give you my perspective. Good talk. My pen is in hand taking notes. That's what it is, man. Facts. Let me see. Definitely not sure what purpose is. Are you not sure what your purpose is, or are you not sure what I mean by purpose? What I mean by purpose versus what the definition is? Let me know, man. Definitely. Big Mike, what's going on? Most passport brothers can't travel abroad full time. I believe they should focus on making the best in the USA. Okay, I'll take it off of passport bros because that's a different. It's specific. I want to make it more of a general thing, and say, most people can't travel abroad full time. This is correct. But here's the thing. 2000. What's today? Today is April 17th, 2023. The United States currently is the #1 economy in the world. Got that part. The majority of other countries, people from other countries, aside from, like Europe and maybe Russia and maybe like that, but the majority of other countries want to come to the United States to build generational wealth because the United States is the #1 economy in the world. Today is April 17th, 2023. A lot of people can travel full time. They can. Based on the money they have maybe saved or they can accumulate within a year in the United States while being the #1 economy. The issue is this. If you travel full time and you have maybe a laptop job or you have a YouTube channel, odds are, on the majority basis, people who live directly in the United States will make far more money. So guess what? When they hit the age of 62, maybe 50, or what's the time, or 65, they'll be able to stop working and go along and do other stuff. Now, most of the people pass away at 74, which I still think it doesn't make sense to work to that long. But the issue is, if people traveled full time, they would have to keep working for the rest of their life. The majority, yes, there are exemptions. There are exemptions where I work in cybersecurity. I make $100,000 a year, and I live in Chile, or I live in Argentina, or I live in Colombia, or I live in Brazil. There are exemptions, but that is not the base principle. That's why I try to educate people on my channel through my financial passive income section. Because if I just had if I had a travel channel, I would have 2, 3, 4, 500 million people subscribed right now. But I felt it would be for me, for my purposes, it wouldn't make sense to tell people to just travel, knowing that the majority of them are not going to make $100,000 a year in cybersecurity and be able to travel and save money for their future. So I went for the 60% rather than the top 10. But yeah, like I said, it depends, man. Let's see. What's going on? Excellent points. Appreciate it. Yeah, we're definitely going to Cuba. And it's 2 weeks. Damn, it's 2 weeks already. Yeah, it is 2 weeks. He is going to Cuba in 2 weeks. I'm in Miami this weekend. So yeah, we are going to Cuba in 2 weeks. Let me see. What's good? What's good, Monty Logic? I get to inform you guys of what I'm doing with my Miami condo soon, also, and break down some things so I can show you guys some stuff. Rio the Aviator, wise words, fresh. My brother told my niece, his daughter, the same thing. Find your purpose and figure out what. Yes. Like I said, I think us millennials are the first generation to test the status quo of what we should be or what we should do. I don't think that our parents ever tested that to say, "Oh, you guys, the system says to do this. Well, we don't want to do this. We're going to try doing this." I think us millennials are the first people to actually do that, but not all of us are doing it. But I think our children will be the determining group of people who are like, "Oh, no, we're not doing this. You can keep talking about doing all this stuff. We're not doing this." And the only way that's going to keep occurring is if people like your brother and myself and maybe you and other people are spinning this message to tell people, listen, you got to find your purpose. That's more important than making money. That's more important than having the notoriety. That's more, because a lot of people go crazy trying to get notoriety because that's what's fulfilling their time or occupying their time because they haven't found their purpose. Existing with Jeremiah. I'm 25, still searching, lost all my families and friends. See, the thing about this is, yo, that's temporary, Jeremiah, existing with Jeremiah. Let me tell you why it's temporary. How old was I? Okay, so I was about 22, right? I was about 22, and I lived in a house that I rented from my grandfather. I rented like 22. No, I was 22. I was like 25. I was like 25, and I rented a house from my grandfather. But my grandfather, he is an accountant in the business. He was an accountant and a businessman. He wouldn't let me take no shorts. He didn't charge me. He charged me $1,500. And what I did was I said, I got two of my friends. We each paid $500, and we paid the $1,500, and we split the house all together in different rooms. My friends wanted it to be Party X before that big party with the people going crazy, or that Project X party. They wanted to throw Project X in this house that my grandfather owned that was in a residential area. They wanted to throw Project X and all this crazy stuff, right? So they did. It got super crazy. Police came. We solved it out. I argued with them for a minute. We solved it out. 2 months later, they did it again. And they like, and now I come home and I see it during the day. I'm like, everybody gotta leave. Oh, you can't tell us to leave. This is this. We pay rent. We pay rent too. Everybody gotta leave. At that point, I split ways with my friends. I said, y'all gotta leave. I'll find new tenants to pay, because what y'all are doing right now is I'm trying to build. I'm in school. The reason why I'm splitting this stuff with you guys rather than getting tenants is because I'm in school. I'm working, and on top of it, I work with 2 jobs, and I was in college. And I said, all y'all gotta leave. All y'all gotta leave. And then I lost my friends for like I lost about 60% of my friends for about 2-3 years. And in that 2-3 years, I got a new tenant who paid all the time. I finished college. I did some other stuff. And guess what happened? I started doing YouTube. I started doing other stuff. I started doing rap. I started meeting DJ Drama, T-Pain. So I got successful in that time. I separated from my friends. And guess what happened in the end? We all came back together. We all came back together, and we were tighter now. They did a whole different path. They found a way to be successful. I found a way to be successful, and we came back together. No, we didn't have to live together, because by the time we came back, I was super successful, and they were successful. Sometimes you got to be willing to get rid of all your comfortabilities in life to find your purpose. And losing all your friends and family could be part of that comfortability, man. There was parts of I lost my family in certain parts too. So listen, man. I know what you mean. The African Wolf, what's going on, man? That free mind is key, bro. That free mind is key. What's going on? Let me see. You already know, man. Let me see. Who says you wouldn't have went further in life if you had a good father in your life? Don't know. I don't know. But what happens is that I compare sometimes, even though it's not fair, I compare my situation with people who I know had great fathers in their life. I have friends that had great fathers in their life. And then I look at where they currently are, and I look at where I am. And I look at three different levels. I don't just look at money. I look at money, I look at purpose or stability, or when you look at somebody, you could feel like they always happy. They never lash out, they never get mad, they never argue because they just happy. Like it's gonna be hard fit for somebody to see me ever arguing or lashing out at somebody. Hard fit. I might speak with aggression and passion to prove my point, but to get mad at something like that, it's rare. It's rare if possible. So that purpose was in there. And on top of that, they may not have been then financially where I'm at. So if my only comparison would be the people that I know with fathers who are not where I'm at. So or people who I don't know who had fathers and they're not where I am at. So I can only compare to what I know I am and where I see they are at. So that's the only reason I know I wouldn't know. I think that I wouldn't have gone further if I had a father in my life. Parents can teach you only what they know. And here's the thing, Trey Pop. The thing is that our parents were ingrained in their head. Again, us millennials, when I say millennials, I'm talking about like 1981 to, I don't know, like 2000 something. We have this rebellious mindset just in general that we're not going to, because here's the thing about this. Our parents lived in a time where internet didn't exist, right? So check this out. If internet doesn't exist, and I definitely think it was about 30 minutes, but if internet didn't exist, right, they had no idea of knowing the outside world. So they were so focused on what their parents were teaching them and what they learned from their community, which didn't know about the outside world. But when I was 10 years old, I was on AOL. I was in the chat room. I was chunky. I was short. I had jokes. I didn't get a lot of women when I was 12 and 13. A lot of girls. I didn't get no girls. I was online. But being online helped me get women outside of my area. And I'm like, oh, they like me. And then I started slimming up. And then they liked me more. So the issue is our parents didn't have access to the knowledge. Again, I try to tell people as a black person, at least, 200 years ago, our grandparents or for me, my great-grandmother wasn't allowed to read. When you're not allowed to read, you can't understand anything. When you're not allowed to write, you can't understand anything. When you don't have the internet, you think everything they teach you is 100% true. We didn't start questioning Christopher Columbus until like 1990. But we knew for damn sure it was Native Americans here already. Again, this is why me personally, I can never argue, and I will never argue with someone who hasn't traveled the world. Because that's the same as our parents were when they didn't have internet. And their parents were when they wasn't able to go to the good schools. And their parents were when they wasn't able to read. So imagine those people teaching the people coming up what they know, and the people coming up like, no. That's not true. Are you saying Jesus walked on water? No. We actually went to the actual book, which says, and the translation isn't Jesus walked on water. It's Jesus walked alongside the water. Well, what kind of? See, this is what the internet does. It opens your mind up to understanding a different perspective of history, which is the reason why I feel as though I'm something like a time traveler. And I know y'all looking like this. What does he mean, a time traveler? That's crazy. Let me tell you what I mean, time traveler. When they go back in history and they tell you that nobody, not one person, traveled during the pandemic. Not one person left the country. Everybody stayed inside. during the pandemic. When they go back and when they go in history and they preach this message, there's a bunch of us on YouTube, on internet, on Instagram that have videos of us going all over the world during the pandemic. Perspective. Inclusive history. This is why I consider myself a time traveler, because I knew oh my God, I forgot the Muslim brother name or Islam brother name who said this, but he was like, if you know history, then you know what's coming in the future, which makes me a time traveler because I knew history. So I created the Black Man's Guide to World Travel because history isn't inclusive. It's not inclusive. But the Black Man's Guide to World Travel is, because as I travel to these different places around the world, I don't colonize these people. I don't go over there and tell them and destroy their community and rebuild based on my culture. What I do is I integrate with these people and I have them. This is not a channel that just travels and has me and all my friends going to different resorts and stuff. No, we don't do that. Because I understand history. And by doing that, I'm no better than the colonizers. So what I did, created the Black Man's Guide, more inclusive. So yeah, man, I just hope that we're teaching our kids, our children, to be more who they are going to be versus what the world thinks they should be. And I know I went for a long time when I just felt it was deep. Pause. Parents will keep the same cycle for you, and you wouldn't be able to live your own life. You see what I'm saying? Omar Suarez, salute. What's going on, man? Preach. Where do I live? It depends. It depends, man. Sometimes I live in Newark. Sometimes I live in West Orange. Sometimes I live in Miami Beach. I got cribs in all three. Eventually, I'll be like, sometimes I live in Playa del Carmen, Mexico. Eventually, soon. Well, not soon, but eventually, in the next couple of years. Salute, J. Clyde. Make sure you go check out on my homie J. Clyde channel too. Cool brother I met at the airport during the pandemic. Cool brother I met at the airport during the pandemic. Again, perspective, y'all. Like I said, we're all creating something that our children's children, even if YouTube is not around, our stuff will get moved to the news platform. And they're like, well, in school they taught us that everybody stayed inside and everybody did this and everybody did that. But these guys like Jake Clyde and Love Crossing Borders and Kings and Dreams and the Flyboy Way, they got a whole video proof that it was a bunch of people outside. You know what I mean? So Piff City, what's going on? 609 in the building. Salute. Oh yeah, definitely get them likes up. It'll be cool. Yeah, definitely. Omar, I sent you the link in I'll put the link in the room for people who want to come in. All I ask, pause. I'll put the link in the room in like 10 minutes after I go through the comments for anybody that wants to come in and give feedback or something like that. We'll try to keep this under an hour because I really don't want to be down here that long. My son is upstairs. I got to take him to school in the morning. So yeah. Let's see. I don't necessarily agree. Okay. I believe just more options and information available than your parents had. Way more. I guess I mean everybody has a different opinion, but it's still based in options that they had that we didn't. I mean that we have that they didn't. What's going on, man? Cool. Once you 14. Oh man, listen. It was different. It was different at the time where I mean, I don't even know if it was the cameras. I don't think it was the social media. I think what happened is that here's what I'm going to say, and I hope I don't offend anybody. I'm just going to speak my perspective on this. I feel as though in order for America to stay the most powerful nation on earth, you have to put stuff out that will attract a bunch of people. So, whereas there are a lot of countries around the world where women aren't given the same rights in the United States as they are here, like In the Middle East, some women can't even drive. They're not allowed to drive. They have to cover their hair. In certain countries, women are not allowed to own property. When the United States pushes out like, "Hey, ladies, your country won't let you do that." Well, come on down. We give all this stuff. We'll give you availability to get property. You can drive as much as you want. You can do this. And I'm not saying it's wrong right there. I'm just saying what is reality. When the United States does all this, it attracts women from all over the world. It attracts men from all over the world, and it puts in the United States. And then the United States becomes more of a place where, well, now that we are more in power, we don't like this either. Okay, so you don't like guys posting women shaking their butts on online? We're gonna jab that, and then the women overseas go, "Oh, we like that too. We're gonna come to you to the United States and make y'all greater." And they come over here and they say, "Well, we don't like guys that like talk bad about things that some women do." Okay, all right, so we're gonna cancel them people too, and then more women come over, and the United States gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And again, I think this is why what we was doing at 14, 15, and 16, and 17, and 18, and 19, and 20, and 25, it's not possible to do now, man. I can tell y'all some wild stories. You know, I don't mind getting canceled. I'm not gonna tell you. I got a bunch of story times but I can tell y'all some wild stories about me and a brother King's Dreams when we was down at Black College reunion. I mean, Freaknik might have been canceled. Boy, if I was alive during Freaknik, I would have probably caught every STD in the book, man. I'm gonna tell you how wild it got at Black College reunion. But we're gonna skip past that just to bring that up, y'all. Travel Squad says, "No, parenting starts at home. I didn't go to school before MLK Day was a holiday. Even before I didn't go to school even before MLK Day was a holiday." I agree, but here's the issue, Travel Squad. And after this, I'm gonna post a link in the room so people can come up. Pause. God damn, I gotta figure out a way to say that. Here's the thing, Travel Squad. No, parenting starts at home. I didn't go to school even before MLK was a holiday. For you not to be able to go to school, that means that your parents made enough, or one of your parents made enough for your other parent to stay home and educate you. Now, maybe, I believe you're like 40 or 50 something, right? Maybe in the 70s or 60s, this was possible, but the United States figured it out. They said, if we allow people to teach their kids themselves, we are going to have a future of people who don't want to be working in these offices, who don't want to be slaves to a corporation. We're going to have a group of people who are not going to benefit the American, I don't want to say plantation, the American machine. So what they did was they made it impossible, damn near impossible, for one parent to work and the other parent to stay home and teach and educate their child. So your situation, completely rare nowadays. Now, back in the day, it might have been possible, but now what you need to have to be able to raise a kid, the one parent has to make at least $150,000 a year. So if he or she is making $150,000 a year, they're not home at all. Or unless they're like a rare occasion like me, where they have houses and stuff like that, they're not here at home. So you got one parent not even in the house, but maybe to 2 hours and then go to sleep for 8 hours. The other parent has to now make up, and this is at $150,000. The other parent now has to make up all the stuff that this parent is not able to do because they're not there. They got to cook, they got to clean, they got to take the kid to soccer practice, they got to take the kid to football practice. Don't have more than one kid because it makes it even difficult. And then if you're not in school, now you can't even get a job unless you have a GED. So you still got to educate that kid while you're home. So now you got to cook, clean, educate the kid, you gotta drive the kid around, and if you're gonna drive, you gotta need a car. So that person who's working is gonna have to work more. It's just improbable and unrealistic in this society. And I know one woman who does it. I know one woman who does it in Miami. But it's improbable to be able to have time to teach your kids at home. Jay Brass, what's going on? You have to put the link in the room. Hold on, put the link in the room for anybody want to come up. Again, my only request is that one, you try not to curse, because I try to keep this clean because I know what YouTube might do in the future. And two, you gotta have a video. You can't unless I know you, like it's King James or I know you personally, like King James or Travel Squad I've seen before, or J Clyde or somebody who Omar Suarez. You gotta have a video. You gotta have a video. All right, so I'll put the link. Prince So, what's going on, Prince So? Prince So in the building. What's up, man? So let me share it again. We spent the first couple minutes. I'll put a link in the room for anybody when it comes to the room. Pause. Again, it's about this whole live stream has been about, are you living in your purpose, or are you just occupying time, man? Because occupying time could be trying to be a millionaire. Occupying time could be trying to get attention on YouTube. Occupying time could be as simple as trying to get all the women in the world. If you ain't find your purpose, man, it's gonna be a long road, y'all. And I wanna welcome welcome to the room. Omar Suarez. Hold on, bro.
What's up, Fresh? I'm trying to get my camera on. I don't know why it's not coming on, but anyway, I just wanted to add on 2 points. One about the fatherhood. I grew up without a father like you, and I gotta say that when I was young, I used to always ask my mom, "Why don't I have a father?" My father died when he got drunk and ran into a pole, and I was 3 years old. And so my mom had 3 other kids. There were 3 of us. So I grew up without a father, and it was hard because I used to look around and I'd watch shows like, these family shows and Cosby. And I'm like, man, why can't I have a father, Mom? And my mom told me, what she said? She said, I'm going to tell you, Omar, your father, you may have been better off without a father. Your father was drinking all the time, wasn't holding a job. He was, had all kind of issues. So, and as I grew up as an adult, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I was better because I was so ambitious, because I saw my mom work hard. I saw my mom struggling. And I used to be like, man, I gotta be successful. I gotta work hard. I gotta be successful, because I saw what my mom was going through, and I didn't want to let her down. Now, if I had a father, who knows? If he wasn't around that bad example, terrible role model. I mean, I don't want to hate. God bless and rest in peace. He was like 27 when he died, and I was 3 years old. But the point I'm making is, I could absolutely see what you mean when you say, hey, you may be better off without a father. A lot of us as African-American men, we probably are better off, because unfortunately, the society that in the 60s, 70s, for African-American men, it wasn't very, a lot of opportunities. So a lot of our fathers and that generation had to resort to, drug, alcohol, and so forth. So in a lot of instances, it's probably better that, you don't have a father. You're more ambitious, at least for me, and it looked like for Fresh as well, and probably for other guys too. But I want to tell you, Fresh, I really believe that having the right father, it still would have been the optimum point. But it's so hard. That window of a good father is so narrow that it's, your likelihood is probably better off not having, at least, for our generation, our time, and in the environment that we grew up in. So I just wanted to say that, because I feel you about the father thing. And go ahead.
I'm going to respond to that. But before I respond to that, let me bring up the bro Kings and Dreams to the room, to the stream. Kings and Dreams to the stream.
What's going on? What's going on, man? Can y'all hear me clearly? No echo or anything like that?
Loud and clear.
Okay, man. Salute Flyboy Way, man. You cooking today, man. Salute to my man Omar, man. Salute my brother.
Hey, what's up, King?
What's going on, man? I have a little bit of pushback, right? So I have pushback on you. Can't push back on Fly because, like, this is my brother, right? My best friend that I've known since 14 years old.
You
So
can push
I
back.
actually know him personally. You know what I mean? You know, I always call him an enigma. But his grandfather, definitely a strong masculine man. So I get what you're saying, right, Omar? What I would say, so my father passed away when I was about 9, 10 years old. And back then, yeah, you had some men that were not equipped to be fathers, but I don't want to say most. Like, I am of the mindset, and due to the fact that, like, I'm a content creator, right? So, like, I always try to not say most, I always say some. It's just because you just got to be careful about the things that you're saying. So when people hear, right, and I know that you don't mean anything malicious, right? You just talking about your life specifically, but like you don't want to say most. You got to be, you just got to be mindful of that. And I know as content creators, we are mindful of that.
Wait, but
Like
see,
even
most in the sense of what?
Well, what I meant was like I can only speak for my community. I grew up in the inner city area, and you maybe in your area it wasn't like the majority, but in my community, drugs,
mhm.
alcohol, that was like very, 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 very popular in my community. So I can
Yeah,
say with confidence that yeah, most, and unfortunately, they don't. A lot of the men in that generation just didn't have. They didn't have the positive role models. Again, in my community, in my urban city that I grew up in, that was the environment. So, and by and large, that's what it was. It's not even a debatable issue. It was just anybody that knows where I grew up, they would know that hey, that was just during the '80s and '90s. It was just a bad time. Drugs, crack, everything. Mine was very, very popular in my community, and it was really hard to get out. I was fortunate enough to get out, but again, my passion was because hey, I was brought up in a single family. My mom, I saw her struggling. I was like, I don't want to live like this. I want to get out of this. I want to get out of this hood. I don't want to. I don't want. And I never look back. I mean, I still go back to help to contribute, but other than that, I was like, I'm out. I don't want to be around it. It's just, So I'm not hating on anyone. I'm just telling you the facts, dude. It was just not a very good, and it wasn't. It wasn't. I wouldn't blame it on any. It's just the society that you were born into an environment that you had no control over. It's like that you deal cards. Those are the cards that you were dealt. That's the life. That's it. There's nothing you can do about it but try and work hard and try to get out. And the other thing I
yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to,
yeah.
the
Oh,
other thing
sorry. Go ahead.
I'm
Go.
kind of, I'm
Oh,
just
sorry. Go
kind of,
ahead. Finish, brother.
I'm sorry. I'm just kind of bouncing around. The other thing is like when you become successful, because I'm definitely in that range of being successful monetarily. I'm definitely there. But the
Yeah,
message
yeah,
that
yeah.
I would like to give to guys that are young, I'm in my early 50s, but a message I want to give to the younger guys that are really like becoming successful is you got to have a balance. Like if you get overwhelmed with what you're doing, if you're fortunate enough to be in a position to have money, you need to like I wouldn't eliminate what I'm doing. Like let's say I'm a YouTuber and I'm doing really well, and I wouldn't I would just scale back, do 2 lives a month or do 2 things a month. But the other time I would focus on what is my passion, what do I really enjoy. I wouldn't totally eliminate it because it is income stream,
That's
but
good.
I would definitely scale back, and I would now I'm in a position where I can do what I want. I can be smart with your money, definitely be smart because it'll go fast. It will go fast, big time. So you just and find your passion and do what you and also take care of yourself, exercise, eat healthy, work out every day, make that a part of your life. Because African American, we have issues with our health, and it's so important because if you don't have energy, you can't do nothing. If you're tired, breathing hard, can't even walk down the street, you got to work out. You got to keep yourself physically fit. I go to the gym every day. I'm working out with cats in their 20s and 30s. I'm working out you guys got to keep yourself physically fit, mentally sharp, keep yourself, and that's going to build your confidence. You won't even care about what other people say about you.
Yeah, I think that leads into finding your purpose, because once you find your purpose, you won't care about what people say either.
Exactly.
Right.
But take care of yourself, though. Make sure you take care of yourself. You got to take care of yourself, guys. Eat healthy,
No, you
exercise.
definitely, you definitely have to. Sorry, Omar. I just
No,
wanted to
go ahead.
retort because,
You can go.
yeah, because I know, Flyboy, Flyboy, he don't be, he don't be long streaming like that. Pause. You know what I mean? So I'm just trying to get my point across. You know what I mean? And both of y'all are my bros, right? So what I was trying to get at was that some men back in the 60s, 70s, let's call it early 80s, they weren't fit to snub, right? You know what I mean? And whether they had been in the war or military, or maybe they just were a product of their environment. I'm not making excuses for any of these men, none whatsoever. My thing is that, like, let's just focus on some, right? And I come from an inner city area. Like, I grew up in Brooklyn, New York City. I moved to Newark, New Jersey. That's when I met Flyboy, freshman year of high school. We come, Brooklyn and Newark, some rough areas. There's some rough areas. There was a whole lot of gangbanging, a whole lot of street, and what you mentioned, you saw a lot of things on the street. All right. So,
But
sorry, go. Hold on. Let me just finish my thought process here. So, all I'm saying is that, like, let's take, and I don't think that you meant it maliciously, but I would say that there's some, not most, because statistically looking at it, you look at the stats when it comes to fatherhood, black men are actually the most involved in their child's lives,
mm-hmm.
and that's stats.
No, but
In the spaces like mine, respectfully, sorry, Fly Boy, I just want to finish my point. I know this is your channel. I mean no disrespect, big bro.
Go ahead,
But like, but with spaces, in this space, like, we deal with stats, data, and statistics. Now, am I saying everything that I'm saying is, going to be absolutely correct? No, because we're all imperfect. But the stats do show that when it comes to black men are the most involved fathers when it comes to all races.
Well, remember,
I think
80s and the late 70s, 80s, and 90s. So just keep that in mind.
Right, yeah, but I think you may have misconstrued what the most was attached to. The most was attached to the most of the people that I know who grew up with fathers aren't as stable or financially equipped or in a position of power like I am. That's what I'm saying. That's why I had a link. That's my comparison to say that not people that most people I know grew up without fathers, because as you said, black men are the most active in it. But it was the fact that growing up with a father, because somebody had mentioned, if I grew up with a father, how do I know that I would not have been as successful or even more successful? And then I said the only comparison I have is comparing it to the people I know that grew up with fathers, who still have fathers. And that's when I said the most of the people that I know that grew up with fathers aren't in the position where I am.
No. And I get it. And yeah, and so I just had, like, I had something to add to Omar's point. I wasn't trying to diminish his point, but you and I mean, we've had these conversations offline. Like, I know you personally, right? So, like I can't debate you on this because, like, I've seen how you've grown up. So, more or less, my uh, add-on was in reference to Omar's point.
Oh,
but I hear what you're saying.
Speaking of how I grew up, I want to answer this question because he was sitting right here. I didn't want to click it without answering it. I even mentioned
no worries, bro.
I mentioned this earlier, Trey Poppy. He said it's a slight contradiction because I, as a father myself, I'm influencing my child, even if I don't push my ideas or the beliefs on them. Just being a good father can influence them. Yes, this is where I said I try not to tell my children or lean them towards a purpose. I try to get them to find themselves. And my I don't want to say inspiration. Well, not inspiration is still true, but it's not the word I want to use. My example of how to do this was my grandfather. You see, my grandfather wasn't always there. I lived with my mother a lot of the times. When she was in the hospital, I lived with my grandmother, or I lived with my other grandmother with my grandfather, right? So I had an image to look at, somebody who was successful, black, who didn't, like an older gentleman who didn't dislike black people. Because here's the thing, and this is part, and I'm going to go back into my saying to answer this question, but I want to say this: there's a lot of older black men out there that really dislike black culture, and I really want to get into that in one of these interviews, but I don't know if I want to do it right here, but because I don't want to miss the point that I'm going with. But basically, I had a example of a black man who raises 3 daughters amazingly. I had an example, and I could see from afar. And when he was close, he would teach me something, and he would go back and far. I saw how to interact. I got an example of how to interact with a child, so that I can make sure that my child has that. And I'm going to bring you back in, Buck Travels. I'll bring you in a second. I can make sure my child has his own freedom, but knows that if he falls, I'm there to catch him, or I'm there to catch her. So that's what it is. But before anybody says anything, I want to bring Buck Travels in the room. He doesn't have the video up, but he just showed himself in the back thing. Pause. What's up, Buck Travels?
All right, salute to everybody in the panel. Kings, salute Omar.
What up, bro? Yeah,
what he do?
Usually around this time, I know Buck be at work, so that's probably why he can't come up. I know you well enough, bro. It's all good. Go ahead, cook, man. Go ahead, do your thing.
Kings, man.
I'm going to Medellin right after I leave Cuba, man.
Okay, that's nice, man.
But don't have me leak all my secrets out. Don't forget, I'm a content creator now, man.
Yeah,
you know, I got to build some anticipation, man.
And that's the thing with
yes.
Creator, like you find some hidden spots, but you don't want to blow it up too much to the point that other guys find out about it. Other folks find out about it. So it's kind of like it can be a hit and miss, man. Like, it can be good for the YouTube, but the thing is, you blowing it up the spot right now. So you just gotta. I don't know, man.
Well, people just don't know how to move around in Medellin. Due to the fact that, like, when it comes to people traveling to Medellin now, like, a lot of people have been hitting me up for consultations. I've been hooking them up, so they know how to move around there now. And if you don't know how to move around, you know what's gonna happen. You're gonna get on Razor Ray's channel. Shout out to him.
Yeah, shout out to him. So, like, I've been to Medellin many times, and I know some spots that even the tourists don't even go to. I'm not gonna say it out in public like that, but in Medellin,
no, we can talk offline about that.
Parque Jerez and Pablo. Nah, Medellin is deeper than that, man. There's some places that has the same vibe as Poblado or Parque Jerez and other areas.
They have no idea how big that city is. They have no idea how big that city is. That city is.
People don't realize how big Medellin. But the city of Medellin has over 3 million people, so there's a lot of stuff going on. Poblado is only like 5% of that 3 million, so it's like the city is spread out. So you can't tell me that Poblado or Parque Jerez, represents Medellin overall. So,
right, yeah,
it's a nice place. Even though the cost of living is going up in the Poblado area, but like I said,
it's going up, but it's going up. But let me tell you, Buck.
Airbnb hotels and other parts of Medellin that folks don't even know about.
But bro, but let me tell you, bro. What's getting people caught up? They getting caught up. They getting caught up in the Parque Lleras area, and what people don't realize is Parque Lleras is one part of El Poblado. Like, that's just that. Like it's a section of a section, right? So, like, okay, I'm born and raised in New York City. People think that Harlem is a borough. People don't realize that Harlem is not a borough. Harlem is a part of Manhattan. Anyone that's not from New York City, but like so it. And what I'm trying to say is that people are getting caught up in Harlem, not Manhattan. So what I'm saying is people getting caught up in Parque Yeres, not El Poblado. You get me?
I wanted to jump in here real quick. Hey, Travel Squad. See, and I know Omar Suarez probably has a closer understanding of this than I do. I know history, but Omar Suarez experienced this history. Touching this subject right here, pause. Travel Squad can be very, very, I don't want to say dangerous, but you kind of got to really watch your words when you touch this subject. When you say the government made them not involved and made it 10 times harder for black men. And I say it's a touchy subject because I understand this. There is truth to a lot of stuff. But the person who is in charge of something can have the power to turn your truth into misery. When I say your truth into misery, if I can, because there are perfect parts in history where you can actually prove what Travel Squad is saying, but we as black people in the United States are not the dominant race, you really can't attack. You can't, me personally, I understand, like, I'll speak on it, but because I have so much information of truth on it, I will not go too deep into it because I understand history. And I understand that there were people who really went into this right here. And you know what happened to them? So I try to show a way where I can still get the message out without going that route. Because going that route, they'll put you in a category of something that gives them reason to shut everything down. I mean, I try to talk around it as much as I can while talking towards it. Hopefully, you got what I'm saying, Buck Travels. You've been in not Buck Travels, Travel Squad. I know you know what I'm trying to say here because you were in the forces, armed forces. So I know you know what I'm saying. When you're in a certain neighborhood, you can't do certain stuff. You can work around it, but on certain things, you can't do certain stuff because things happen. Orange just says, you guys are crazies. The advantage of a fatherless man. Stop being silly. Everyone has a different perspective. We just gave you clear-cut perspectives of, I see Buck Child. You back in the room? Everyone just gave clear perspectives of I'm putting it back in, my fault. At the stream. My fault, Omar. But we just gave clear perspectives of why we believe the way we believe. So I don't think that's a silly thought. I think that's just a different way of thinking.
I let me just say this. I want to make it perfectly clear. I still think the optimum point is to have a father and a mother in a loving home. I really believe that's still the optimum point. But I just feel like in the 70s, 80s, and especially the community I grew up in, the hood I grew up in, the urban area, it was just so much. The system was just so much designed like where it was like. It just wasn't a lot of hope for a lot of people in that time period. So for me, it worked out better. Like I think if I, my ambition, my drive, my determination to get out was really strong. And if I had, that's the only point I was making. I still firmly believe that the optimum point, because right now I'm a father. My kids now, they'll tell you, my dad, I anything my kids need. Hey, you want to do this? I want to go on tennis. I want to go on this. I want to go on that. Okay, here's the check. Let me pay for it. I want to do this. Here's that. I don't judge. What do you want to do when you grow up? I want to be this. I want to be a teacher. I want to be an engineer. Good. I'll support it. So they'll tell you they got the best father. They'll admit, and I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but they'll say, hey, I got the best father. I don't judge them. I don't tell them what to do. I tell them you live your life the way you want, and I'll support it. I'm going to give you food, shelter, clothing. And I got your back. That's what I can give you as a father.
Let me play devil's advocate real quick.
Okay.
when you don't have somebody to give it to you, but you really want it, does it make you work harder for it?
You know, the thing is, like, I don't know. That's a very good question. I don't know the answer to it. The only thing I know is, as a father, I made sure that I, like, whatever they wanted to pursue, but I also let them know, hey, look, when you get an adult, you're out, you're on your own. When you become 18, you're on your own. So I make it clear, I'm going to help you now, but you're on your own. So I suggest you learn a skill, get a trade, and they knew that. I taught them that at an early age. You're going to be independent one day, and they, so I don't know, man. I that's the way I've lived, but I still think the optimum point is to have a loving home with a mother and father. I still think that's the optimum point. If it's the right, mix, which is asking a lot. So,
me personally, I think it does. I really think it does, because not to say that I won't give my son something that they want, but let me give you an example. So my daughter, she wanted to go get I don't know what she wanted, like a I don't know what it was, like some kind of Polaroid. No, it was a skateboard. It was something. She wanted to get something, right? And I'm like, all right, well, you can't get it right now, but I'll give it to you in a week. Like I say, I won't get your nails done now, but I'll get your nails done on Friday because you told me last minute. She's like, okay, I'm gonna find a way to get my nails done now because I need them now for this event on Friday. And she found the way. Now she knows there's a way she can get the money herself from whatever it's like babysitting or whatever she did. She found a way that she can get money because I didn't give her that money. But I did give her a notice that I would give it to her on Friday. So that was me showing her that, listen, it's available for you, but you can't tell me last minute. So you can't get it till Friday, but she needs it by Friday. So because she needed it, she found the way to do it. If I would have just gave it to her right then, she would have never found a way to do it. So it's like, I feel as though there has to be some kind of test with everything you do for your kids. Like, let's say my son wants to play basketball. Perfect, go play basketball. My son wants to go into a $600 basketball camp. All right, well, you show me you practicing every day, and I'll pay for that camp. I'm not just going to pay for that camp because you want to play basketball. And that's how I feel as though I'll move to try to make sure I'm not just giving my son everything. You know what I mean? Kind of like I believe lions, right? Aren't lions the animal that if the father goes away and the mother trains them, and then something like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with you. My kids definitely don't have the drive that I had. I mean, they're not. I mean, they're ambitious, but me, man, I fought like cats and just to be successful. I mean, I worked like my 20s, man. I worked all the time. I saved, I invested. I just had this burning desire to succeed. Like, it's unbelievable. Like, and I still have it. I mean, I just obsessed with being successful, and I really did well all throughout my career. And even now, I'm doing really well. But it was just a burning. No, my kids don't have that type of drive. They don't. But they're doing well, but they don't have that type of drive.
Hey, Joseph and Omar, I'm going to repeat the question. He said somebody restate the statement again. I'm going to add a question. I'm going to make it a question. The statement, I'm going to make a question. Are we cheating our children as men and women? Are we cheating our children out of the ability to learn how to fight or get what they want because we're giving it to them?
I mean, absolutely, to a certain degree. My kids definitely don't have that type of drive. They don't have that. No way, they don't. But here's the thing. To be honest with you, they don't really need to. So I don't really care. Okay, you don't have the job. You don't need it.
I disagree with that.
I'm gonna add Travel Squad to the room, but right before I add Travel Squad to the room, that's a hard statement, pause, to answer, Omar Suarez, what you said, because it's like, I know you don't have to. I can just give it to you and you can have it easier. But the issue is there's a lot of people who had it easier, even like the Vanderbilts, who had it so easy. And then 3 generations after giving their kids easy, they lost all their wealth. So it's like, I don't know. Travel Squad, welcome.
It was good, fam. It was good with everybody else on the panel, man. What's up with y'all, man?
Colin, what's the word, man? Salute.
Man, I just want to piggyback on what Flabo was saying, man. So he mentioned the Vanderbilts, but look, they invested in crypto. So they had fathers in their life, so they did something right. If y'all don't know that the Vanderbilts are one of the people that are heavily involved in crypto right now. So,
but the Vanderbilts were way more wealthy 3 generations ago. Way more wealthy 3 generations ago. And then they passed it down, and the kids didn't have to work as hard, and then the kids didn't have to work as hard. So yes, they're still wealthy, but they're not where they was at 3 generations ago. And maybe 3 generations from now, they're back to where we at. And that's where it comes in to say, hey, should my kid have to work for this, or should I just provide my kid with it because I can?
No, your kid should have to work for it just the same way that they should have to work for it. They should have to work for it, but they work for it. They found a way on the .com era, the Vanderbilts. And if some of y'all don't know, y'all looked it up, they're a part of the cryptocurrency. It goes up, it goes down, but guess what? They put their money somewhere in good, and they're making money. So that's what I got to say about that. But it is what it is.
See, I like things like this. Like, even though this is what I mean by finding your purpose. Because the whole topic is are you living your purpose, or are you occupying time? This right here is the perfect example of living your purpose. I don't know where Buck Travel went, but we have 4 fathers, Black people. I don't care if we have like 23 people in the room, because this message is fulfilling my purpose. We have 4 Black successful fathers who are giving you insight and talking about something that we don't normally talk about in the Black community, or talk about even in a father community. Talk about raising our children and talking about, different perspectives of how to do things. Like, it's rare that I've never seen my uncles and my aunts work together and say, yo, did you try this with your kid before? Did it work? I got this going on. But for us to be able to do this, it's going to eventually in the future help a lot of people. So I just want to thank everybody for coming on. And we're going to still go for a little bit longer. But I just want to thank everybody for coming on and making this possible, because I feel it's like we just doing something different, man. You're doing something really positive.
Hey, salute to y'all, brothers. And I just want to add one topic to the conversation real quick. And I'm not going to go left. I promise you, bro. I promise you. I know what you're doing, bro. I'm not going to go left.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is that I grew up in a 2-parent household, and that was the best experience that I ever had in my life. And what I want to say is that while single parents could be a little bit further, it might push you a little bit more to get some of the things that you didn't have. When somebody could have paid for that, it makes you behind. For instance, football. Both of your parents could have been paying for your whole football experience, all your pads, all that stuff, and this and that. And you got one parent, they can't afford it. You're further behind. Yeah, it's going to push you to do harder, but it's a hindrance. And what I'm saying is that I would not advise that to nobody today. And I have not done that in my whole life. I'm the same age as you, bro. It's
let me
live your life. Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Watch this. My kids have to work super hard their whole life. I don't just give them stuff. They got to work super hard their whole life. Then I die. I pass on. I go to a greater plane. And they're left with millions of dollars that they now know how to invest. They know how to double stack it. They're not dependent on it because they wasn't given nothing handouts during their whole life. So now they're not sitting there expecting it because they got everything themselves. I'm a experience of that. So I feel as though I make my kids work hard when they don't have to, so that when they do have to work hard, when I'm gone, they're going to be so far up. So whereas though you say, oh, I can just give it to them so they don't have to work hard. Well, what happens when you pass away? They're not used to getting it themselves. They used to somebody giving it to them. Now they don't have nobody giving it to them no more, and they may not lose it all. Even though statistically, 90% of families lose their monies in 3 generations. Statistically, they might not lose it all, but they're not going to be at the same point they was when you was alive. So that's, for me, it's different. I want my kids to grind. I'm still helping them. I'm helping my son with homework. But when he gets to high school, find your way, son. Find your way. If you need some guidance, I'll give you some guidance. Like my grandfather used to make me take loans out. My mother and my aunts, they used to hate it. They used to be like, yo, why are you giving him a loan? He has to pay that back. He's using it to go to school. Well, because I'm teaching him something. I'm teaching him that money just don't fall off of trees. So every time I took money from him to go pay my school bill, I had to pay him back. Even though I was able to pay him back because I worked for FedEx and FedEx gave the reimbursement, I was able to pay him back. I had to pay him back. And that taught me more than if he just gave me the money for everything. I'm speaking as an example of a person who did it. So that's my response. Anybody else?
Hold on 1 second. But you're not speaking that right there is not an absent father. That's two totally different situations. You're not speaking as an absent father. So you was actually in your son's life. It's just that, or whoever's life, you just away from the situation. That right there is totally different compared to what the government did. And I'm not going to go left. Hold on. I'm not going to go left. I promise you. You're in your child's life. You're giving them advice. You're doing this. You're doing that. That's different compared to, hey, we're paying for food. We're paying for education. Stay away. That's different, bro.
No,
it's different.
But aren't we talking about? Were we talking about giving your child stuff versus not giving it to them and making them find a way? I thought that was what we were talking about. Not being absent, just not giving it to them. Like you said, if you don't want your kids to have to work, you rather just give it to them if you have it. And I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying no. The way my grandfather did it, he would loan it to me. I still had to pay him back, like for college. And then the way I paid him back is I used my FedEx job, who reimburses you for college, to pay him back. So that's different than him just giving me the money, because he could have just gave me the money and said, hey, take it, pay for your schools and go and get reimbursed and keep that money. He could have said that, but he didn't. And that's the same kind of vibe I'm trying to give to my kids. But I want to see if Omar or King James got an idea on this. Let me get back to
the thing that I wanted to say was that when I said made sure my kids have everything, I mean like in terms of resources. Like that's what I mean. I don't mean like necessarily like material stuff. I'm talking about, again, food, shelter, clothing, that they always had those basic necessities and they didn't have to worry about that. But I also always reiterated education. And they all, I have 2 daughters that are over 18 and 2 that are under. So the 2 that are over, they graduated, they just finished college, both of them 1 year back to back. They're doing well, but they work hard. They're smart. All my kids, they've been taught at an early age, study hard, work hard, develop a skill, do what your passion is, do what you enjoy. I made sure they had the resources to do it. I hired tutors. If I see one of them struggling, I hire tutors to help them in math or science to make sure that they still graduating with honors. So that's what I mean when I say I give them the resources. They're not sitting around like Paris Hilton, just sitting around traveling and not doing nothing. My kids are productive. They're out working. If I die, they're gonna be productive. Whether when I go away, they're gonna still be focused. They're gonna be business minded because they understand. I taught them everything, and then what I didn't teach them, they learned on their own. So I still think that having the 2-parent like Bug Trail, I think that that's the optimum point, because I worked hard, but I don't necessarily believe that I wanted my kids to have to do like I did, it was hard, even though I like working.
And before you go, Kings and Dreams, Omar Suarez, you think you can help this brother out here?
Okay, he has a question pertaining towards multifamily real estate. What is your plan for when things break in your house, and what do you think things break? Oh, break in your home. Oh, okay. Well, first of all, you need to skill yourself up as much as possible. Plumbing, electric, and let me tell you, like y'all watch YouTube for traveling and how to go places. You need to be watching YouTube on how to change a toilet, how to rewind your wire in your house, how to repair. Like I just had a tenant call me tonight. Was like, I got a condo in Miami, and I'm renting it out now. One of my properties. I own a bunch of properties. But he was like, this is a special situation. But he was like, hey, the door is hard. The sliding door, the balcony that overlooks, has struggling trying to open it and shut it. So I mean, I was able to. Well, I had a contractor that can do it. But the thing is, you have to use the resources. Go on YouTube to figure out how you can the optimum way to do it. So I researched myself. I looked on YouTube about sliding doors. I educated myself. And then when I called my contractor, I was like, look, you need to replace the wheels, the rolling wheels to the bottom of the thing. That's what needs to be done. I don't need you to spend $2,000 on replacing the door. Just redo the tracking. And he was like, oh yeah, you're right. I can do it that way, and it only costs you about $400 or $500. But the point I'm making is, to answer your question, what's your plan when things break in your house? First of all, educate yourself. Whatever it breaks, you need to understand the complexity of what it is that broke, and also always do a root cause analysis. What caused this to break? You need to figure out when you repair something. Don't just repair it. Learn what was the cause. Why did this thing break? What did I not do? Did I do preventive maintenance? Did I take a shortcut and didn't do it? My boat, I have a 32-foot boat, and at the marina, the thing this past weekend, I was out. Anyway, I don't want to go into detail, but I did a winter when I did the maintenance. I took a shortcut and didn't do everything they wanted. So when I had problems this weekend, I had to call a mechanic. He was like, "Hey, Omar, you should have done that." I'm like, "Yeah." But the point I'm making, guys, is look, your plan for when things break. Educate yourself. That's the first thing. Build knowledge. Knowledge is power. And do your root cause analysis. What made this thing break? How can I prevent this from happening again in the future? And this is another thing, guys. When they say you got to spend money to make money, you got to kind of believe that, guys. Sometimes you have to spend the money up front, and a lot of money up front, because in the long run, it's gonna help you. Because if you buy quality stuff up front, in the long run, it's gonna last. You're gonna have less breakdowns. So
Okay.
or less maintenance.
Kings and Dreams. I want you to start Kings and Dreams. This next question. I'm gonna answer this real quick, and then I want you to start answering the next question, and then I wanted to go to Travel Squad, because this next question is specifically for all four of us. But I'm gonna answer this question quick for me. Aside from what Omar Suarez said, bro, you gotta have emergency money. You gotta have emergency fund. And secondly, if you don't have an emergency fund, because sometimes it gets depleted, you gotta have credit cards that you can get to. Because I personally just had a pipe bust, and I couldn't, and the water coming from the sink was getting backed up, and I had to change the whole pipe, and it cost me $5,000 to change the whole pipe, and I had to use my credit card. So you gotta really be able to have an emergency fund and a credit card. But okay, Kings and Dreams, I want you to answer this first, and then Travel Squad. And then I'm going to answer it, and then Omar Suarez, I'll give you a chance to answer it, because this is pertaining to us as men, as black men. Kings and Dreams, read it and then answer it.
Yeah. No worries. All right. So dialogue. Shout out to dialogue. It says we create too many barriers as black parents for our children. I grew up around Koreans and white people. They would never create barriers for their children. We are already behind as a race. Hmm. What do I think about that? I can understand where dialogue is coming from. I think that us as black people, especially in the West, we are overtly sensitive, and we do not be as transparent with ourselves as much as we could. What I will say is that we are getting better though. Are we getting better faster? I'm not sure about that, but I will say that we are getting better. One of the things that I did want to talk about, I kind of wanted to revert to like what you and Omar were talking about, Flyboy. Like you mentioned, like you had a pipe that had busted, right? And you had to pay like 5K, you know.
Right.
So I have a hot tub in my apartment in Medellin, and I actually had to spend about 1,500 to get that done. And I have a bank account in Medellin, well, Colombia, and so you do have to have multiple streams of income because you just never know when things are going to happen. You do have to multiply on the resources. And moving forward to this comment here, I think that due to the influx of men, especially melanated men that are traveling, I think that we are starting to get better. I think that we are starting to understand our value. And I think that we are starting to elevate ourselves. More men need to elevate themselves, especially black men, I'm talking about here.
Travel Squad.
And thank you for having me, Flyboy. I want to say that comment right there is that's not true. And like I said before, parenting starts at the house. And the way I was raised was I grew up in Hawaii. It was all Asians there. My parents are there. They're both black. They never let me outside. They would not let me play or nothing. I had to study 10 hours a day. 10 hours. I graduated with a damn engineering degree. It's because that's what they wanted. But I wanted it too. But it's parenting starts at the home. I didn't go to school before MLK Day was even a holiday. I didn't do that. My parents wouldn't allow me. They taught me that at home. And I taught my daughter, I used to argue with my daughter's teachers all the time. But hey, Christopher Columbus, I told him that he was this, he was that. They'd be like, oh, well, why would you say that? I'd be like, have you been in places? I've been there. You're just reading out of a book. I've been there. So it starts at the home, man. It really starts at the home. And I don't think that we're behind. It's just that education is a key to everything. And once you get that education, like my parents had, I didn't go to school before MLK Day was a holiday. Some of y'all can remember that.
So they taught you at home? You was homeschooled?
No, I was no. Both my parents had degrees, and they told me I didn't have to go to school because that was their holiday before they made it a federal holiday.
Well, you mean you didn't go to school, Martin Luther King, but you still went to school?
Hold on. Yes, I went to school, but I did not have to go to school on that day because
I get it now.
before the federal government perceived it as a federal holiday, my parents already knew. No, you don't have to go to school that day. We're celebrating it.
In my head, I thought you were saying that you was homeschooled and you didn't go to school until they made it a holiday.
No, sir. No.
Man.
Okay, so Travel Squad, pardon me, Fly, but do you mind if I ask him a question really quick?
You go.
Okay, cool. All right. So, my question to you is that you said that you don't think that most black men are behind eight ball, so to speak, right? And I'm paraphrasing. Why would you think that?
Because of where I grew up. It's the environment that you grew up in, it's your society that you grew up in. So I might not grow up in the same society that some of y'all grew up in. It's different. Environments are different. I grew up in the military.
You're right.
I joined the military.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Thank you for your service, brother.
Let me say this. He's absolutely right because his community, where he grew up, he didn't have to go out, be worrying about going outside, getting beat up or robbed. He didn't have to worry about crackheads around him. He grew up in a totally different environment than me. He didn't grow up in fear. You grew up in a nice, I'm not going to say. The bottom line is you didn't grow up in an urban area in the 80s and 90s when it wasn't comfortable to go outside your house. Or when you go out, the guys around your age group, there was so much peer pressure to do drugs. There was so much peer pressure to go out and rob, to steal, to gangbang, to whatever. You didn't grow up in that environment. I don't think so, because I don't think Hawaii had those type of hoods like in the continental United States. So yeah, your situation was different. I mean, and God bless you. I'm glad you were able to, at least not have to live in fear, because I don't wish it on anybody. I grew up in that environment where it was fearful, and every day I worked, only thing I could think of was getting out of that situation. I don't want to live like this. I want out, and that's why I worked hard. I studied. In fact, and I'm gonna be honest, I had two sisters, and they were fine, and that helped me, because the cats in my hood wouldn't bother me, because they all wanted to bang my sisters, so they would leave me alone because of that. If I had ugly, then they probably would have been like all on me and punked me out and everything else. So I was just lucky that I had that.
I want to say this to this comment right here. I'm going to read it and I'm going to answer it in a way that might be a little bit different from everybody else. Dialogue says, we create too many barriers as Black parents for our children. I grew up around Koreans and whites, which it sounds similar to like what Travel Squad was saying. They would never create barriers for their children. We are always behind as a race.
Fly, respectfully, I read that already, bro.
I know. I just wanted to read it again because I wanted to.
Okay. My bad. Go ahead. Do your thing, big bro.
So let me do it again one time. Dialogue says, we create too many barriers as Black parents for our children. I grew up around Koreans and whites. They would never create barriers for their children. We are already behind as a race. Korean and white children do not live in the same world that a Black child has to live in. We cannot compare that they're both children, because a Black child's life in the United States, as well as around the world, is completely different. Point and blank explanation. A Black child can knock on a door because he's there to pick up his brother and sister in the United States, get shot.
Facts.
And the person never gets arrested. Let that have been a white or Korean kid, all hell breaks loose. So we cannot, as Black parents, raise our children the same way that Korean and white parents raise their children. We have to be tougher. We have to be more direct. We can't always give them this child's life that they deserve to have, because we need to prepare them for the adult life that we hope they make one day. We hope they get to one day. This kid that just got shot was 16 years old. We gotta hope. We have to prepare. It is a parent's responsibility to prepare your child for the future, not for the future that could be, not for the future that should be, but for the future that will be. And as Black people in the United States and around the world, there is no way that I can raise my kids as Koreans do and as whites do. So yes, I have to be harder on my child. Do not go over there and steal. Don't steal from anybody. And if you steal from somebody, I'm going to punish you in the house. Do not go over there and curse at that person, because if you go in the block and you curse at another Black person who's going through something, they might shoot you, they might stab you, they might jump you. So I have to be harder on my son, on my daughter, as a Black person in the United States, to make sure that they do not go out there and not get a chance to reach where I am at. Not financially, not stability-wise, but simply to reach over 21. Do you know how many people when I was growing up did not reach over 25? I'm sure Omar Suarez can say the same. I'm damn sure that King James can say the same. It was a blessing to reach. People don't. A Korean kid could never understand what it's a blessing to be 25. A white kid can never understand what blessing is to be 25, and everybody thinks, oh, it's just a birthday, it's nothing. Bro, no, it's not. Especially in the urban environment. Now, if you have money or you,
I agree. I agree.
But that's why I don't ever say that we as black people are creating too many barriers or being too hard on our children. Because if we're not 16 years old, knock on the door. Bam, he shot. Oh, wrong address. I was looking for my little brother and sister. Ain't no way.
Facts. And that right there is hard facts, bro. Damn. Like I said, sometimes it's just the area that you grew up in, but at the same time, that's facts as a damn black person. Hold on, now don't get it twisted, y'all. Just because I grew up in a different environment, a different place, doesn't mean that my parents didn't teach me them same things. They taught me it differently, and I had to experience it while I was stateside. So,
yeah, I mean,
peace and blessings to everybody, man. Is shit. Facts, man. You have to. It goes back to what I said. Parenting starts at home. It starts at home, and that's it. Don't let these damn people teach your kids in school all the shit you don't want them to know. Teach them at home. So I can't disagree with what Flyboy is saying, and that's a hard fact what he's saying right now, and that's sad. I mean, and it just happened on the news, but I'll leave that alone.
I mean, I have no pushback. I mean, you know, for those who may not know, but you know, Flyboy and I grew up together. Well, I've known him since I was 14. I just turned 38 February, so I've known him over half my life. So I'm just letting him cook up, man. But what he's saying is true. What he is saying is true.
The only thing I want to say is to the younger people, folks on here, and the ambitious, etc. Everybody's ambitious, obviously, because you wouldn't be on the show if you're not. At least for this topic. So don't be distracted. Stay focused because there's so many distractions out here. Like I'm telling you guys, I'm so I do not get caught up in this side. Like you can easily get caught up in so much garbage. You got to stay focused. You know, you guys know I own properties. You guys know I have businesses, etc. I'm so focused. Like I don't let these distractions bother me. Yeah, I know about current events. I heard about this. But I gotta stay focused. I do not let that steer or deter me. I don't let it anger me. Like certain things are unacceptable. Like what happened. We just heard about this thing. It's terrible, but I'm focused, man. I go in. I'm very mission oriented. Like my mission is to be successful. Make sure that my products that I'm, like the properties are well maintained, that they have the proper maintenance. I make sure that I live my lifestyle, a balanced life. I'm working out, I'm doing this. I can't get distracted. This stuff will drag you down. If you stay too much involved in some of these things, and the system is actually designed to have you like friction among the classes that hate each other. I hate this person. Look at the black, look at the white, look at the Latino. You gotta know that, man. I'm not gonna get into because I don't want to get into that either, like too much detail. But the only thing I'm saying is don't get distracted. Try to stay focused as much as possible because there are a lot of people that want you to be distracted. That's all I have to say.
Again, occupying your finding your purpose or occupying your time. The distraction is occupying your time is a distraction. Anything you occupy your time with that's not your purpose is a distraction. So yes, I agree. It starts at home. Learning how to be.
Can I tell you one thing, man?
What's going on, Travel?
All right, bro. Hey, let me tell you this, man. Like I said, I was raised a little bit differently, but that doesn't make me different, bro. I'll talk to my cousins right now that are in the hood right now. They're still in the same hood they live in Texas. I go down there to visit them all the time. I've never stopped doing that. But they tell me their struggles and this and that. And I'm like, a lot of it comes from the environment they was raised in. So let me tell you what I did. when I had my daughter, when I had my child, I did not raise her in that environment, bro. I worked my ass off to get to where I need to be at in a different situation to where my daughter, she grew up, even me. If you listen to the way I talk, it sounds different. I'm not from nowhere. I'm from everywhere. I'm eclectic. She sounds the same way. Beautiful little girl. She does what she wants to do, and she's off in college and does her own thing. The thing is that I didn't base her in one area, and that's what I'm saying to everybody else, man. It's parenting starts at home. Don't teach them to say this and that. Let them experience things, but you can guide their ways through that. The same way my parents guided me the way I went. It's all I gotta say is that parenting starts at home. Don't teach them that bullshit at home. Do not let public education is free because it's free. I'll tell you that. And I'm not gonna say no more on it because it's your channel. I'll leave it alone. I'm a wise guy, bro. But public education is free because it's free, and I'll be quiet.
Man, listen. Listen. I try to touch too much stuff about you because I want to. I like Omar Suave says. I try to root my channel in solutions and explaining what's going on, and then give you a solution for it. Because, man, getting into what the real meat and potatoes is about stuff that's happening. It ain't you as a person in the army, you know. I mean as a person in the especially who's been in war, bro. You know what it is.
Air Force.
You know what I mean? It's yeah.
Stay focused. That's it. Stay focused. Keep on whatever your passion is. Stick to that. Try not to deviate much. Try not to get distracted. Know your purpose. Stay focused on it because there are a lot of distractions out there.
Yeah, here's another thing, kind of linked onto what we're gonna keep this under 2 hours. So as we get closer to the 2 hour mark, I'm gonna go through all the comments and I'm gonna get your final thoughts. But it's just something closer to what Travel Squad was saying. Although Travel Squad grew up in a place like Hawaii that was not as the same as like Chicago or New Jersey or New York. The issue is once you leave that environment, you go through the exact same experience whenever you move. You go through the exact same experience, especially if both your parents are from the United States and they're black. You go through the exact same experience because you got the mentality. So it don't matter where you at, whether you grew up in a hood, in a single parent household, or you grew up in Hawaii. As soon as you hit that area where it's that way, same experience.
And I want to speak on all that. I want to speak on that real quick, if you don't mind, bro. Like I said, just because I grew up there doesn't mean things were different. I experienced racism there. That's what a lot of people don't know. They don't know. Hold on, they don't know that Islanders. They don't like people that are from the state because.
That's what I wanted to say.
No. I lived in real life, bro. And hold on, when I came back to the States, I got the same shit from the different damn group. They're like, "Hey, bro, you different." I'm like, "Hold on, why am I different?" What I'm saying, all I gotta say is that parenting starts at home, man. I'll whoop anybody's ass. It don't matter where they at. I'll tell you that. That's what the 808 taught me. 808 taught me to fight. It taught me to fight, man. And it doesn't matter, man, where you're from. It doesn't matter where you're from, it's where you at. And I'll leave it like that.
Listen, when I was in Hawaii, bro, I had a great time. But we was in the club, and I thought the Samoan guy was treating me that way because I was black. He turned around and treat that white guy even worse. I was like, oh man. And then they explained to me, and then the woman who I met there was explaining to me how they look at island people who live on the island different from the people who live in the United States. And
Colleagues.
they even look at the people who were born in Hawaii different than the people who originate from the Polynesian culture. So it's like I understand what you're saying 100%. I've seen it. I witnessed it.
Hawaiians make fun of Samoans. I'm telling you, it was just a different level of racism. I just didn't understand it growing up, but I understand it once I grew up. I was like, I've been doing this. It's like they make fun of each other, right? But then I go back to the United States, And then they're making fun of me. I was like, what the hell is going on here? I didn't understand it, but like I tell you all, parenting starts at home, man. It starts at home. And like I said, I don't disagree with anybody says on this panel. Salute to all you. We got a whole bunch of intelligent brothers on this channel. Omar, Kings and Dreams, Flyboy Way. He's always sharing this experience, man. I appreciate y'all sharing your experience. That's what you got to do, man. You got to tell people how it is to travel and once you leave outside the USA.
This is what I want. We're gonna bring this live to the end because it's 150. But I want Travis Spot to go first since he was talking last, and we're gonna bring it back to the whole thing of the topic. Are you living in your purpose, or are you occupying your time? And what are your thoughts on that? And then we'll end it with that. We'll go with Travel Squad. We'll go with Omar, and then we'll go with Kings and Dreams, and I'll end it out. Are you living?
Hey man, thank you for having me on your show, man. I'm living my purpose right now. You know what I'm saying? You only got one life to live. Right now, I'm young, and I always tell older people. I travel with a lot of older people, but I'm blessed to be the age I am because I might not be able to do that when I'm older. So, do what I can do now. That's my purpose right now because I'm blessed. Do it now. I might not have another chance. So I'll leave it at that. And peace and blessings to everybody else, man.
Salute, Travis
My
Scott.
purpose, bro. I'm traveling, bro.
Salute.
Omar? Hold on. I'm an explorist, not a traveler.
I like that quote. I see. Omar?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely living purpose. But I have balance though. Like I have multiple purposes that I serve. So my purpose is father. I'm still a father. A business, my business, my health, my assets, and then there's my recreation time. So I take each one very seriously, and I give like 110% to each one of those areas, and it's a balance. And I've been successful in each one of those categories is staying focused and not being distracted by other stuff. I have to stay focused. I surround myself with people that are like like successful or ambitious or share a lot of the quality or not quality, share a lot of the values that I try and keep myself around people that are positive, that are going to not make me deter from being like achieving those purposes that I have. And they're multifaceted. And that everybody's got to have multifaceted. You can't do my purpose is just one thing. You got to have like your health, your spiritual, your your financial, then the passion, the things that you're passionate about. You just got to have balance, and you can't try not to be distracted. So, but I'm living it. I'm so happy. I got knock on wood, because tomorrow I got a motorcycle too. Tomorrow something can happen to me on my motorcycle. So look, man, I'm right now up to the day. I'm the happiest. The last 20 years, the happiest anybody could be. So it can change, and I know that. See, that's the thing. I know I'm not living my life like, oh, I'm invincible, like nothing can happen. I know things can happen tomorrow. It could be taken away, like something can happen like this. So right now, I'm happy. I just count my blessings every day. I remember I talked to Kings and Dream once. This was like 6 months ago. I don't know if he remembers, but I called him once. I was on my motorcycle when I called him. That was funny. But anyway, I'm sorry. I'm digressing. Go ahead.
I appreciate that, Omar. Hey, Kings and Dreams, you want go ahead, living in your purpose of another time, and let them know what you think.
Yeah, man, absolutely, man. Well, first of all, just want to thank you, big bro, for allowing me on your platform. A1 day one, you know what I mean? It's very hard to find a A1 day one. So when you got one of your best friends who you grew up with, you've been through different battles of life, keep that person around, man, for real. I'm telling you, you know what I mean? Um, Flyboy has helped elevate me in different facets of life, and Flyboy is definitely a real one, man. When it comes to this conversation, as Omar was saying, don't get distracted, stay on your purpose. You have to be focused on your purpose. And one of the things I will say is that in order for people to stay on their purpose, make sure that you keep people around you who stay on their purpose too. Because what's going to push you, what's going to make you stronger, what's going to help elevate you is when you have people that are around you and around your circle, whether that be friends or family, associates, whatever the case is, mentors. You want to keep people around you that keep help elevating you, and you want to keep that around you. You want positivity. You don't want negativity around you. So stay purposely purposeful. Subscribe to Kings and Gene on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. Salute to my man, the Flyboy Way. A1, day one, Cuba, 2 weeks. We outside.
Yo, man. Listen, I appreciate all you guys for joining the chat, your wise wisdom. And hopefully we'll have some more before we leave for Cuba and I'll talk. And thank you guys. Appreciate y'all.
Hey, Flyball, can I say one more thing?
Yeah, what's up?
Forever young, I wanna be forever young. Hey, salute to y'all, man. Let me tell you something. Do something with your life right now, man, before it's gone, man. This is why I have not been on YouTube. My brother died when I was in Colombia. I had to fly back, and my dad died recently, 8 days ago. And it's like I kept telling them to travel with me. They couldn't do it. So, hey, man, y'all be forever young, man. That's all I gotta say, man. Appreciate y'all boys, man. Y'all great men, man. I appreciate y'all, man.
All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Man, this is a great live. I wasn't gonna go live, and I said I got to get this off my chest. So I'm happy I did because I got to speak with other brothers. I got to get other brothers' opinion on this topic of living in your purpose or occupying your time. Most people were only given 74 to 75 years of life. I'm grateful that I was able to find my purpose in the course of that life. And it was 3 other gentlemen we were just talking to, and maybe Buck Travel too, but these 3 other gentlemen who told you that they found their purpose. Don't be worried if you didn't find your purpose yet, because there's no rush. This live may help you know that you should find a purpose rather than occupy your time. And that might have been the only thing you needed to get today. Maybe tomorrow you find your purpose. Maybe 5 years, 10 years, 20 years you find your purpose. And on that journey, you learn a lot of stuff so you can secure your purpose. Like Omar said earlier, being distracted by things that may seem like it's something that you're meant to do. I want to be famous. I want to be rich. I want to get a lot of women. I want to wear nice jewelry. I want to be a philanthropist. I want to do all this stuff. It's good to try to see if one of those fall into your purpose. But just remember that while you're occupying your time looking for your purpose, the goal is to find your purpose, not those things that may make you happy while you're occupying your time. It's been a dope live. I see a couple comments left. I'll go through those comments and then we'll end it. BK Fly says, Flyboy, what up? You was on point that live the other night. If you're talking about a Zoom one, bro, I liked it, but I wanted to go back and watch it. I couldn't watch it. I don't know, man. I couldn't even. I usually watch myself to see if I said anything that I might have to rethink or something. But yeah, it was fun. It was entertaining. Best playing future to second me. Let's see. Yes, Flyboy's a pioneer. I wish I could super chat here. Thanks, I appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. And again, Travel Squad, what's up? Salute, my bro. Yeah, this has been dope. I thank everybody for joining the live. I hope you hit the like on button on the way out, but it really doesn't matter. I just enjoy you guys for listening. Hopefully this helped you. It's your boy FRE $H Fresh at the Flyboy Way. That's THEFLYBOYWAY. Don't ask why. Just check out the channel. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.